Hello lovely people, how are you all doing today? I hope you are well. We're getting a little bit of sunshine, woohoo! Oh my goodness, garden, we'll come on to that. Just trying to get an ironing job out of the way. And we haven't done this for ages, have we? A chat whilst ironing. I'm just starting with my hankies. I certainly do not always iron my hankies. It's purely because, oh hang on a tick. It's purely because I've got the iron on to iron some stock for the shop. Well, goodness me, and actually one of the things in here I talked about, actually both of them, I talked about them a month ago. Where has April gone? Where is time in general going? It has been a busy time. Obviously it's been a busy time. The kitchen has taken up a vast amount of time and, you know, other stuff besides. I felt a little bit of time pressure with the kitchen. I wanted to get it finished because I had a trip up to my sister's planned. More of that in a minute. And it was getting closer and closer and closer. And I also knew that, I kind of working backwards, I thought, right, I'm going to my sister's on this day. The day before I want to be able to do a load of cooking. So the day before that I want the kitchen finished. And it kind of largely was, except for the Danish oil that I've put on the countertop on the butcher's block. It just helps to, it sort of gives it a seal finish. It makes it sort of a bit sort of water resistant and stain and all that. Obviously if I leave water sitting on it for ages, that will eventually stain it. Or a hot iron lid, that will mark it. But yeah, so the Danish oil, it just gives it a bit of, it's almost like waterproofing it. Just means that if I do spill something, if I get it mopped up in sort of 5 minutes or so, zero mark left. Anyway, yeah, so I've got pretty much all of the kitchen done. I'd got 2 coats of Danish oil onto the counter and I was about to do the third and this was all on. I think this must have been the Sunday and I thought no, because I want to do a load of cooking on Monday. I just want what is on there to just be really soaked in and beginning to harden up so that I can get on with a load of cooking. And then the plan was, go up to my sister, get back, put the third coat on. That is all done now. And that was done yesterday, or a day and a half ago. Really losing track of time. But it's been a little bit, the last couple of days have been a bit discombobulating for me. And I'm sure loads of you will get this. So one of the things I'm ironing today is this gorgeous little half penny, this little vintage half penny with, I showed it to you in one of the kitchen videos, I think, with this sort of the giant rick rack on the bottom. Never see rick rack now, do we? Yeah, the last couple of days have been, or sort of day and a half since I've been back from my sister, I've just felt a bit, I was thinking about this last night, trying to articulate it, and I don't know whether these are the right words, but here we go anyway. A sort of a little bit empty, a little bit lost, bewildered, bit numb. And I think it's because, you know, right since really the beginning of the year, I've sort of been on this kind of, not treadmill, because a treadmill feels like you're going nowhere, but carousel ride, I don't know. I've been on this trajectory of doing this thing, right, do the next thing, right, do the next thing. So, for example, before I started the kitchen, I had that 2 weeks of get my head down, get these lavender bags made, stuff, so. A massive sort of post office run. That day when I spent, you know, it was in the end, it was over 6 hours making up all the parcels. massive, just really focused. And the minute it was done, I knew that now I'm going to be starting the kitchen. So again, focus, kitchen. Then sister visit, And I think what's happened is, I do know what all the next jobs are, the next big jobs. I think just in these last couple of days, it's a feeling of, obviously I'm really pleased these jobs are getting done. I'm really pleased. It's a relief. And I'm pleased with the job. I'm really pleased with how the kitchen has turned out. But there's almost a sort of an anticlimax feeling because I've got to go straight on to the next job. I feel like I don't have time to enjoy this, just chill out and enjoy it for a little while before the next job starts. And I think also just trying to get my brain into gear to focus on the next thing. So yeah, I thought I'm just going to get on with a few odd jobs today, outstanding jobs. This job of washing and pressing these items for the shop has been waiting for a month. It's been bugging me because the pile of them, they've been at one end of my bathroom. Every time I go in the bathroom, they catch my eye, and by catching my eye, they nag me, do me. So yeah, I think it's probably a good idea, isn't it, when you've had a really big project on and you've been really focused. And actually I've enjoyed, the aspect of it that I have enjoyed was giving myself permission to ignore everything else and just do that one job. That's not normally how I operate. Normally I've got, 17 million things on the go at once. So I did enjoy, just doing that one thing, focusing primarily on that one thing. Of course, other little things did get done. But anyway, I think what I'm trying to say, get to the point, Vivi. I was like, don't make this a long one. It might be a long one. I think when you finish a big project, I think it's probably a good idea to have a couple of days before starting the next big project. Just have a couple of days to sort of almost decompress. I mean, I'm not going to sit idle. I'm not going to sit around doing nothing because I don't have time for that at the moment. I can sit around doing nothing once I've moved. But yeah, I think certainly a couple of days to just catch up with other little odd jobs. I've got quite a bit of admin-y type stuff. I've got my invoice for the allotment. I need to do a bank transfer for that. So just lots of little things like that. I can get on with them. That'll make me feel like I'm still, being productive, doing something. But I think it just gives the mind and body just a bit of a buffer, a bit of a break between the big things. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense, doesn't it? This is a bit more tricky to iron than I was anticipating because it's got so many gathers in it. It's gorgeous. I love the fabric. Very, very 50s. So yeah, it's always about the thing of priorities, isn't it? What's the priority? Someone was asking me via Facebook messages just this morning. I've already forgotten your name, I'm sorry. But was asking, is the garden gone? Have you given it up already? Because we haven't seen a garden video in a couple of months. No, I haven't given the garden up. I just had to, it was just a bit of a judgment call of saying, actually getting the flat ready to sell has to be the priority this year. I really don't want to go into another year of waiting to sell. I really want it to happen this year. So yeah, the garden wasn't a priority, and it wouldn't be the sort of thing where I'd finish doing, say, a kitchen job and then go off to the allotment to do something, because frankly, by the time I finish doing a kitchen job, my body is wrecked. I don't want to walk to the allotment. Never mind doing any work down there, I don't want to walk there. So I've neglected it, but I haven't given it up. And yeah, I'm going to have quite a bit. The thing is as well, we've had rotten weather unusually rotten weather for the southeast. March, I was looking at a map the other day about rainfall for March. Unusually, the southeast has beaten the northwest for rainfall. I come from the northwest. I know what it's like to live in a wet county. But yeah, this March, the southeast, we've had double our normal rainfall, which is weird compared with the last couple of years, because the last couple of years, our droughts, the last 2 years, drought has started in March. So we've been in March in shirt sleeves, sunshine, really quite warm on some days, no rain whatsoever, ground rapidly turning to concrete. Anyway, yeah, so back to this year. I might have to give that another go in a minute, and I just spotted a little mark that didn't come out in the wash, so I'm going to give this a bit more attention in a minute. I won't do any more pressing. Yeah, time. You know, if I'm not doing something, if someone's thinking, why is she not doing X, Y, and Z? It's always a time issue. You know, there's just not time. There's only one of me. And yeah, I can't do everything. But I am now planning, as we go into May, I'm going to make 2 weeks, let's see, it might take 4 weeks, the garden a priority, to get seeds sown, beds ready. The grass is going to need cutting, oh my goodness, my edges will look really messy. But yeah, that would be my priority, get that underway, because then with the style of gardening I want to do this year, oh, my knee just wobbled. I'm hoping that it will be a much lower maintenance garden, so if I can just get it up and running, then I can abandon it a bit, get back here and now start to think about work on the bathroom and the hallway. There's a plan, it'll all happen. But yeah, I just needed these a couple of days to be able to sort of be in that mode of, I don't know what I'm doing. My poor little brain needs a break. This is that gorgeous tablecloth. Oh my goodness, it is going to take some ironing. Oh, flick it, Vivi, flick it. But it's square and it's flat. Well, it's rectangular and it's flat, so it should be quite an easy press. I washed it. I did say I might wash it by hand. I risked it. I put it in the machine, but I did it in one of my delicates bags. You just saw that. And yeah, it looks fine. All the little beady bits on the edge. I don't know if everybody knows this or not, but, and it is something I'm very, very, very passionate about. Everything in the shop, everything I sell, whether it's, you know, a second-hand item that I've looked after and got it nice again, or lavender bags, or seed packets, or bunting. I will get back to bunting one day. Yeah, everything I sell in the shop, doesn't matter what it is, every single sale generates a donation for Macmillan Cancer Care. They are a fabulous organisation. They are wonderful people, the Macmillan nurses. It's a bit of a shocking fact that in the UK, I don't know numbers for the rest of the world, but in the UK, 1 in 2 of us will experience cancer at some point in our life. Most of us recover and go on to live long, happy, healthy lives. So I'm not being a doom monger talking about that. But the thing about Macmillan is they offer the most amazing support in all sorts of different ways. So, for example, you don't even need to be the patient to access them. For example, you know, let's say your best friend has just had a cancer diagnosis and you're freaking out about it and You don't know all what it means, you don't know what sort of treatment they're going to be having, and you think, I don't even know how to talk to them, like, you know, what am I going to say? You can call Macmillan. You don't have to be the patient. You can be the friend of or the loved one of someone. Give them a call and they can talk you through things. They offer such fabulous sort of emotional, mental support. But yeah, their services are wide-ranging. They can and do advise on financial matters. So if a patient is going to have to stop work because of their treatment or because of the progression of the disease is making it impossible for them to work, so they offer financial advice, you know, including advice on benefits and anything that they can get to help them. Yeah, they're just wonderful, wonderful people. My family, we have had recourse to use them, unfortunately too many times, but you know, they've always been there for us. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of their work. And when I stopped work and I said I was gutted because I didn't have the money to support charity anymore, this was one way that I could. So literally every time something sells, a little bit goes in the pot for Macmillan. And even if I don't sell anything for a whole month, I have a minimum standing order that I send to them. Yay! Good for Macmillan. This is going to be beautiful in someone's garden in the summer. I know a couple of folks said to me, Vivi, keep it for yourself when you move house and you can have a table in your garden. This is massive, and I don't think I'm going to have a garden big enough to have a table big enough to take this. Be lovely, wouldn't it? Actually, folk have said about, you know, moving, especially moving out of London. I still want to look round here, but have talked about, you know, if you move out of London, you can get a massive garden. Brilliant. I do not want a massive garden. I really don't. Even just a little courtyard garden, that would be perfect for me. Somewhere where I can have a table and a couple of chairs, 3 or 4 chairs, and a few pots for some tomatoes, for some beans, what have you. That would be perfect for me. I mean, if I get a little bit more than that, I'll be chuffed. But yeah, a garden, I keep going backwards and forwards on this and thinking a garden isn't a priority when I move. I think some outside space is a priority. I do like to be outside, if nothing else, to read a book. Just on the word of books, I need my little scraps bin, hang on. A couple of people have been in touch, including Angela. Hey Angela, over in the States, to say that every time they read a book, they'd like to send me their books as they read them, send them to me. That's so kind, but please don't. Please don't. I don't get much time to read outside of the winter. I am actually reading something at the moment, and I'll tell you about that in another video. But yeah, I don't get much time to read. And with that lovely flurry of gift books a month or so ago, oh, I'm boiling. It's getting very humid in here. Yeah, with that little flurry of gift books a month or so ago, I have more than enough to keep me going for the rest of this year. And I don't really want to accumulate any more because they will have to be packed to be moved. I'm actually trying to whittle my bookshelf down, and every time I think, yeah, I've made a little bit of a hole, you beautiful people fill it up again. So I don't mean that in a, gosh, goodness knows, I don't mean that in an ungrateful way, not at all. Just a practical way. I think I need one of those hankies to mop my brow. Now, I'm just going to have a quick glug of water because I'm sweating a lot. Keep my fluids topped up. My sister's water bottle. It's great. It is, I didn't know, do you remember when I got it for Christmas? I didn't know whether it had any sort of insulating factor to it. I'll try it with hot chocolate, Well, it does insulate, because the other day I'd filled it from the tap, it was really cold. I'd put it down, and I put it down in sunshine, and bright, bright sunshine. And when I went to pick it up, the outside was really warm. Took a swig, freezing tap cold still, which is great, because my glass one, if I accidentally leave it in the sun, it warms up. And warm water, oh, it's disgusting to drink, isn't it? Right, I made a couple of notes because there's a couple of things I don't want to forget. What have we talked about? Macmillan, yes. Priorities. Oh my goodness, so that was the other thing in finishing the kitchen. I'm going to get one of my beautiful, clean, freshly laundered, freshly pressed hankies to use as a little malbrop, not a malbrop, a brow mop, because this is a steamy work. We are finally getting a bit warmer. See, that's the other thing with the garden. We've had some really cold nights still. But anyway, we are getting warmer. I have finally ditched the thermals. Yay! Don't have to put the heating on at all. So I think April's bill is going to be right back down lower. Oh, I'll tell you something about that in a sec. I've done my meter readings, but I haven't had my bill yet. But based on my meter readings, my gas, which is central heating and hot water, has come right down. Brilliant. My electricity was up, I reckon up by somewhere between £5 and £10. I was like, why has my lecky gone up? Because obviously, you know, the days are getting longer, so the point at which I turn lights on in the evening, it's 8 o'clock now, as opposed to 3 o'clock in the middle of winter. Then it occurred to me, it's the sanders, isn't it? When I was sanding the kitchen. I don't know what wattage they are, but in particular the orbital one that I used on the floor, it was really, I could feel the power in it. So when I said the kitchen cost 68 quid to do, maybe I need to add 5 or 10 quid to that for the electricity I used. Anyway, so yes, that was what I was going to say. Having got everything back into the kitchen last Saturday when I did the staging. Thank you so much, everybody, for your just really, really lovely, warm response to that video and your kind words about, you know, doing a good job. I really appreciated it. And exactly as I said in the video, some of the staging may change, and sure enough it did, because on that day when I had a cooking session, it was weird because I was like putting my hand out for something, it's like, oh, I've moved it, I've put it down in the cupboard or whatever. So there were a couple of little changes. My granddad's toolbox, I took that off and put back up things like my pestle and mortar and my tray of kitchen accessories like my garlic crusher, my veg peeler, that sort of thing. But otherwise it stayed pretty much the same. So anyway, that was the Saturday. Sunday, cleaning day. Oh my goodness, cleaning the rest of the flat. And I think I'd mentioned that as I was taking things back into the kitchen, everything was getting a really thorough clean. Because no matter how careful you are about dust, it gets everywhere. So I thought, you know what, fine. I haven't done a really good clean of the flat for ages. I actually haven't done an ordinary clean of the flat for 3 weeks because it just wasn't worth it. It just wasn't worth it because, firstly, trying to clean and hoover around all the massive stuff that was in the living room, still working in the kitchen, and I just thought, it's no point. So I didn't do regular cleaning, and I haven't done a deep clean for ages either. So I thought on the Sunday, that's what I will do. Starting at the ceilings with my feather duster, are there any cobwebs? Coming down the tops of all my picture frames. You know those bits you just forget, don't you? The tops of door frames, all my skirting boards. I went for it. Properly clogged up the filter on my Hoover with the fine dust, but it's fine. It's one of those filters that you can wash. And the joy of doing that was that it was the last day of the European Championships, the gymnastics. It's like a revelation, a joy to me that Team GB are doing so well in gymnastics these days, and we're seeing more and more coming through. You know, just when we're getting used to, you know, Max Whitlock or, you know, Beth Tweddle was our first gymnastics star. We just keep producing more and more and more of them these days. So it's wonderful. We topped the medal table. Now, I had it on, I wasn't really watching because I was cleaning, but I was listening, which isn't ideal for gymnastics, is it really? Because it's a visual sport. But it was lovely just to listen anyway. And I couldn't help but reflect when I was little. I started doing gymnastics when I was really little, when I was 5 or 6 or so. But it quickly became apparent that I was growing too tall. I'm too tall to turn over quickly, and also it was the first sort of signs of my dyspraxia, even though it wasn't diagnosed until much later. But so I stopped doing gym when I was about 8 or 9, but it didn't stop me loving it. The posters on my bedroom wall of Olga Korbut and Nadia Comaneci. Oh, fantastic. Anyway, what I was going to say is all that time as a kid and right through my teens and into my early 20s, just assuming that Team G we wouldn't even be in any of the finals, never mind medals. We just weren't a gymnastics nation at that point. That was okay because I had my favourites, whether they were Russians or Romanians. The Romanians in, was it like the 90s, they really came into their own. So I had that assumption that I'm never ever going to be cheering for a British gymnast. So how wonderful now that I am. It's just fab. Anyway, it made the cleaning go like a dream. It was great. I'm not a huge fan of cleaning, so anything to distract, brilliant. Right, let's turn this around. Oh my goody goodness. It's a big beauty, isn't it? Okay, what else did I want to mention? Let me just look. I've got scribbled notes. This is my life, scribbled notes. Oh yeah. I think this is something we could / should all do. Let's move that there. They're done. Do you remember when I was doing the kitchen, there was a video and I mentioned that I had 2 lists on the go. One for big jobs and one for little jobs. So obviously the big jobs, sanding, painting, woodwork, walls, ceiling, whatever. And the little jobs, it was really useful having the little jobs list because sometimes I was waiting for paint to dry before doing the next thing, or sometimes I would, after the ceilings killed me. So after I'd done the ceiling, before I do the walls, I'd want to have a sit down for an hour or so and then get back to it. So having my little jobs list was great because a lot of them were sitting down, so I could take a break from the big job but still carry on being productive. And one of the things I did one day was got a drawer. We've all got one of these drawers, I think, that's absolutely full of all the paperwork to do with everything electronic in the flat. So guarantees, manuals, how to operate things, receipts, that sort of thing. They mount up, don't they? Because it's the big stuff like cooker, stove top, fridge, freezer, washing machine, computer, DVD screen, NutriBullet, my Ryobi strimmer, the Roberts radio, my carbon monoxide detector, my smoke alarm, literally everything that can go beep. I've got a manual for it. My cameras, stills and video. So I had to sit down, I went through the lot and I chucked I chucked quite a few bits out actually. I chucked out bits where I don't actually own that thing anymore. That thing has either broken beyond repair or I've given it to someone else, but I've still got the manual or whatever. So they got chucked. Receipts. This was a bit annoying actually. Hang on. It's a bit annoying that with the receipts, I think it's the ones, you know, that it's like a heat printing. So firstly, it's paper that you can't put in the recycling. It's annoying. And if you're not sure, if you put a hairdryer on one for a few seconds, you'll see it starts to turn black. So firstly, you can't put it in recycling, but they fade over time. So I had a load of receipts for electronics, which there's just nothing on it now. Nothing showing. So they can get chucked. But then I started, because obviously, I know it's only little things, paper, but that's what I mean about packing to move. Why would I pack anything that I no longer need? Get rid of it now, before I move. I don't want to move, and then as I unpack at the other end go, oh, well, that's rubbish. Obviously. But as I was going through it, I started to think about the electronics that are going to be staying when I leave. So the kitchen stuff, washing machine, fridge, freezer, cooker and hob, they'll all be staying. The boiler, the gas boiler, of course, staying. So also with the gas boiler, it's the whole manual, but also it's the complete record of all the services it's had, and having the services means it keeps it in warranty. I think it's got another 5 years of warranty, which will be reassuring for someone moving in, won't it, that if something were to go wrong with the boiler, they can get it fixed for nothing. So anyway, so all those things for items that I'm not taking with me, all those manuals and bits and pieces, I thought, right, well, I'll put them in a separate folder so that I can leave them for the new person. And then the idea kind of grew, and I thought, you know what I should do? I will do a sort of a welcome pack, welcome to your new home pack. Because there are some quirky bits to this flat where there's a switch and you think, what's that switch for? And you press it and nothing happens. Something's happening outside. Or there's one in the hall, you press it and the hall light, nothing happens. What's it for? It's something inside. So there are things which aren't apparent. They aren't obvious straight away. Things like the stopcock, the water stopcock. Oh my goodness, it took me about 2 weeks to find it when I moved in. Now when I bought the place, all 3 flats, there are 2 more below me, they were all on sale at the same time. They all sold pretty much the same time. I moved in a couple of weeks before Christmas, and the 2 other girls, they moved in sort of end of January, beginning of February. So for the first month and a half that I was here, I had the whole building to myself. And I just was like, where is this blooming stopcock for the water? Because I knew at some point I would be making a kitchen. I need to know where to turn the water off. I found it eventually, downstairs. But when I did find it, I opened, there's a little service hatch. There are 2 pipes, 2 stopcocks right next to each other. So turned one of them off, ran all the way back up all my stairs, turned the tap on, pouring water. Right, well that's not my stopcock. Tap back off, run down all the stairs, in the days when I could run down all the stairs, reopen that stopcock, because it's obviously a neighbour's one, turn the other one off, run up the stairs, turn my tap on, nothing. Yay, it's my stopcock. Turn tap off, go back downstairs with electric tape and a marker pen, went back downstairs and marked up the 2 stopcocks, so that then when my downstairs neighbour moved in, she actually started work on her kitchen, almost straight away. And I remember one evening she popped up here to say, you know, hi, I'm there, I've just moved in, hi, I've just moved in too, la la la, chat, we're going to be friends, yay. And she said, do you know where the stopcocks are? I said, yes, I do. Because while you weren't here, I was running up and down the stairs all the time finding them. so I could show her. So anyway, back to me selling. I just thought it would be a nice thing to do for the new people or new person is just remind myself of all the little quirks in this flat where things aren't obvious, and I love it for that, but show them where they are. And things like, because the freezer and the fridge and the washing machine are built in, to turn them off, to defrost, for example, you would have to take the door off, take the whole appliance out to get to the plug on the wall behind them. Who's going to do that every time they want to defrost? I didn't want to. I did it for a couple of years like that and then got fed up with it. So now all of those appliances, they've just been rerouted slightly to another access point where it's really quick and easy to just press a switch to turn them off. So like the later switches. However, again, they're kind of hidden and in a bit of a quirky odd place. So I'll do a little map so the new person can find. Because obviously when I leave, I'm going to turn all this stuff, all the appliances off to defrost them, clean them. They're all going to have the doors wide open so they stay fresh until someone moves in. And can you imagine they move in the first night and they're like, how do I turn the freezer on? How do we get to the switch? There'll be a map in the welcome pack. So yeah, hopefully I will think of everything, but obviously I'll give them my phone number, and then if they've got any issues further down the line, if they can't work something out, they can give me a call. But I might say to them, there's a time limit on that of 6 months. I don't want you calling me in 2-3 years time with a problem with the boiler, because by then it ain't my problem, it's your problem. Call Mel, he's the boiler man. So yeah, that was a good little job to get done. All these little jobs that are getting done. And you know what, they seem like really little jobs, and they are. They're like, these jobs, it's maybe half an hour, little sit down job. But they're the kind of jobs that if you leave them, the next thing you know, you've got a whole week of little jobs to catch up on. So yeah, it was really handy to get all of those things, well, not all, but a lot of those things done whilst waiting for paint to dry. I've just looked at the clock. I think I've been gassing for long enough, so I will catch you up about other stuff, my lovely visit to my sister. The sun shone on Yorkshire. Oh, it was so gorgeous. But yeah, I'll catch you up on that on another day. We'll do that sitting down though, because I find these days that the standing, I don't like it. Like right now, I'm really feeling it in the old knee bones, and I'm probably going to start pulling faces and making moany noises. We don't need that in a video. That wouldn't be nice. So yeah, and like I said, there's a book I want to talk about, one that was sent and that I have read, because that's the beauty of train journeys, isn't it? It's time to read, time to turn off. More on that when we can have a little sit down session. I might do that later today for another day. Anyway, right, I'm still ironing. This is going to take a while. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Hopefully I will have this in the shop. It won't be in the shop when this video goes out. It won't be in the shop straight away because it will need to air. I'm going to press it twice. Yeah, it'll probably be in the shop in a week or so. Anyway, okay, so for now I'm going to say cheerio. I'm going to focus on what I'm doing. Give my knees a rest in a second and crack on with other things. Just getting it on. But to reassure those of you who like the gardening stuff, who like being outside with me, that is going to start again soon. We don't have great weather forecast for this week to come, but it looks like there's one dry day. So it's a big circle on my calendar. Garden. It has to be a garden day. I don't care what else is going on. I need some soil time. I need it to just calm my brain and ground me, literally and metaphorically again. Can't wait. All right, lovelies, until then, please look after yourselves, look after each other. If you're able to garden at this stage, please say that all of your snow has gone, those of you who've had snow. But yeah, if you are able to get into the garden, if the weather allows, lap it up. Lap up every moment, because you know what, we just never know when we're going to be able to get out there again, do we? So if it's a sunny day, get out there, make the most of it. And you know what, even if you don't do anything, even if this time, if you're like me, if you're really behind this year, if you've really not been out there very much, you're feeling overwhelmed, what have you, maybe promise yourself, if like me it's going to be dry on Tuesday, to just go there. Don't worry about doing anything, just go to your plot, sit in the sunshine, breathe, calm, just reacquaint yourself with the place. Smile at it and it'll smile back at you, I promise. All right, lovelies, until then, cheerio. Getting a steam bath. I should go and have a facial cleanse now that my pores are all so wide open.